I feel like a question that I get from a lot of younger kids is, okay, like I want to do mixing, I want to do engineering. Like, what do I do? Your path is gonna look different. So here's how you equip yourself. You're gonna burn down your career, whether you know it or not. Oh man, I'm getting choked up. Whether or not this makes the video, this is about to get raw.
You have the floor, Warren.
I guess I'll start here. I'm Warren David. I mix music in Nashville, Tennessee, and this is my studio, The Arena. I mix in stereo and Atmos. Done production, playing, mixing is just what I've got the most work doing in the circles that I run in. And so, like, I started in town as an intern at Dark Horse, and by nature of not wanting to drive back and forth between Franklin and Germantown, where I was living at the time, I would sleep at the studio because it's basically a ranch. And because I was sleeping there and staying there for like 3 or 4 days at a time, I was the guy opening, I was the guy closing, I was around, and the people who were renting out rooms there regularly, I had a lot of exposure. So like front of mind in their minds, I acquainted myself with the gear and tried to have a great attitude, be a fly on the wall, not disrupt things. And that moment when someone was like, "Hey, can you do blank?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll try that." Yep. And a producer started using me regularly. And from there, I was serving him. I was getting excited about Nashville. He fanned me out to a few people because he felt like I could be trusted. And I mean, that's a huge deal. It's like you prove yourself to someone not by your skills, but your attitude and your willingness, your teachability, your poise, and just like, yeah, I'm here. How can I help? Like that attitude, like, is seen and noticed.
Mhm.
And that's what will traject you. It's not just projecting, there's a trajectory. I'm not going to coin phrases. They're going to fan you out to people. And so that's what happened to me. And the first guy to start paying me was Sean Moffitt. And he started using me to prep his sessions, which was, copy paste samples. This was pre Trigger 2.
Mm-hmm.
So copy paste samples and do a basic, like, all right, everything's in the same place every time he opens up a session. Well, then I was like looking for ways to improve. Like, because my role as an assistant, even part-time, was how do I make his life easier? Or how do I increase both of our capacity together? And so that's when I started developing his prep template. And so doing that turned into a more robust thing on the front end. And then he was like, "Do you want to try archiving as well?" He saw my initiative with that. He's like, "Okay, can you archive?" So like now I'm doing archives and I'm looking for ways to improve that process, streamline that. So that's what I was doing. And I was driving back and forth between his place in Brentwood and Germantown. And I was like, if I get his 2-bus and his gear that he's using, I don't have to drive. I can print from home. If we use Dropbox to sync our project drives, then we're always in sync, and I can archive from home instead of 3 a.m. when he's done working. So that's what I did. I saved up money, and he even helped me like buy some gear, and I paid him back. And now we have cloned rigs. We've increased our capacity. That level as an assistant of serving the need turns into, how can I increase our capacity? Where are there weak spots or things that can be improved upon that like bring us into a new space where we can now take on more work? Like he can take on more work because I'm not using the space for archiving. So that turned into that. And he said, "Hey, can you try tweaking this? Like, here's some notes from the client, like raise vocal, lower this, EQ that, print, send back." Okay, now I'm doing tweaking. So like there's just this expansion of duties and responsibilities and from there, like, maybe I'll try to start some mixes. And all the while I'm like learning from him and taking things in and start some mixes. And starting mixes, I learn what he does after I hit save. And I learn the gap of what I need to work on. So did that for a while, and then that gap started closing. And he was like, yeah, the mix is great. Like, we'll use that and we'll send that to somebody. And so then, like, I'm helping him mix and doing all these other things. And now it's time to expand our capacity and delegate prepping to somebody else. This journey of solving problems that no one knew they needed, like having a great attitude to serve where you are and not just be so focused on like, but I just want to be a mix engineer. It's like, there's a good hard road to move along that. And there's a lot of value in building out your skills and the value you offer to a community as well. Because if the need is everybody just keeps calling me to tune vocals, well, man, there must be a need for that. And maybe you can up your rates because you're the guy that does the best job at tuning vocals. That fork in the road of like, oh, but I just want to do that over there. I think you just have to be faithful to walk through the next open door, and you can try to bust down another door. It's going to be harder, and there may not be anything on the other side of it. And people may be upset that you busted down a door. Like, they may find you harsh for it. But what they most certainly will see is a long pattern of great attitude, faithfulness, loyalty, solving problems, integrity, like picking up trash when it wasn't your trash, like doing it for the sake of it being right to do instead of, oh, well, what can I get if someone saw me pick up that trash? Like, but like, like if you go back in a snake and make sure that you label all the snakes for somebody's rat's nest, and then they come back there and they're like, whoa, like I didn't even ask anyone to clean this up.
Oh my
and
gosh.
But you've learned a skill. You've learned a skill about patching, organization. You've provided a value for somebody. That reflects on you. They find you valuable for doing that, and it just builds. And you keep walking through that open door, and your path is going to pivot. Like, I didn't start out in Nashville wanting to be an Atmos mixer. Like, I wanted to be a producer. I got on with a producer. He handed me off to a mixer. So I started learning mixing. I learned how to serve a mixer. So then I got good at mixing. And it's like, well, that's the work that's coming. He's handing me mix work. I'm bringing mix work in on my own. That's starting to shift where now I'm bringing in more mix work on my own. And like, I can slowly leave his operation. We've got a lot of love there as well. So that I like leaving a good legacy behind you in that process. Then from there, again, with Atmos, like I'm mixing. Hey, like here's a need that someone might have. Do I want to spend a bunch of money and jump into an unknown, unstable, who knows if it's going to be there tomorrow format? No, but I can trust that there's going to be a need. So I'm the kind of guy that wants to help solve that. So here I am, 2/3 of my work in Atmos. And what's it going to be tomorrow? I don't know, but the attitude that I've cultivated in my business and just even in my heart is I'm a problem solver who's wanting to connect with people and serve their needs. And that will always be valuable. Atmos mixing, stereo mixing, that may or may not be valuable. The community might dictate to me whether or not they think I'm valuable for that service. But hopefully what they'll always remember is in every interaction with me is Warren's somebody who brought value and care to my project, my interactions with him and his business. So I think that very graciously, because I'm sure I was an immature idiot that didn't want to hear that or understand 15 years ago. I don't know that I would listen to me right now. But thankfully and very graciously, I landed in that mindset. And so I think that mindset will help sustain and grow a career far more than being the Kool-Aid man kicking down the wall. I'm here to mix. I have no credits and I'm 20 years old and I'm arrogant. Give me a mix. It's not going to happen. You're not going to beat Serban. Like, but you find your peers. You find the dudes next to you. You don't chase down Jack Antonoff and like, bro, I love your Taylor Swift stuff. Give me a mix. Like, it's not going to happen. But you find the dude who's right next to you. Like, I want to be a producer. I want to be a mixer. Awesome. Let's work together. And then your circle just like grows from there. And by the time both of you have like built up some clients and you're working on stuff, like there's this mutual loyalty to each other, and like you've built a community, and now you are at the level to serve higher needs, and people who have been here for a while might look at you. Yeah, I think I can trust him with a song. So that's my 2 cents. Let's make it a discussion too. Room as well. Especially when people are either starting out or just trying to learn in the age of content creation or people aspiring to be influential in a space. There's a fire hose of information, and especially regarding Atmos, with it being so new, I think with anything, you just have to be careful who you're listening to, and not like if they're a good person or not, a good or bad person. It's just like there's so much information that we can't retain any of it or all of it. And so like it's good to hear trusted sources, or not trusted sources, but like, you know, an ad pops up for an unnamed MIDI company that makes MIDI things.
Everyone knows who you're talking about right now.
The root of their issue is like they're selling you on something, but and everybody's trying to sell someone on how to sell, like consultants teaching people how to consult, and it's just garbage. And I don't even think pros need to always like, let me make a video on how I do things. But what's really helpful is like someone doing their research up to the point where they've exhausted, like, I just don't know how to get over this hurdle. But like, that's forums. That's talking in a community of people. There's an Atmos Facebook group that's like Atmos music mixing. And a lot of people are in there talking and working through ideas. And that to me would be a better spot to workshop Atmos. And even like, don't even just go in there and question Kool-Aid Man, but like look through the questions. You can search previous questions that people have had, and like, okay, I'm having an issue figuring out if the objects or the bed is where I need to put things. There's a whole bunch of people talking about it. Like same with like videos of like Atmos mixing do's and don'ts. It's like you experienced it today and yesterday. You kind of just have to get in and learn, and in your own brain go, that worked, that didn't work. And it's the wisdom, like wisdom being knowledge applied. Like if we're just consuming the knowledge, it's going in one ear, out the other. And most certainly some of the things that we might grab onto are just junk to fill the internet. And so I just think we got to be careful who we're listening to and how much we're taking in.
So how would you find those individuals? Or how, I mean, this being such a subjective space anyway, like you're going to like some music, you won't like some music. You're going to like some people, you won't like some people.
Yeah.
How would you sift through that subjectiveness to find those trustworthy individuals?
For one, like Mix with the Masters, I just think is a great spot to start. Like look at those masters, look at how old they are, and look at their list of credits and go, I can probably trust what they're saying. Like if there's an entire company built around these people, I can probably trust what they're saying. Same with Pure Mix. Like I can probably trust what they're saying. All the way down that chain, like I think there's like, are they trying to sell me something? And not that people who are trying to sell somebody something, it's not that that's bad. It's just Andrew Sheps on a podcast or on Mix with the Masters just talking about his experience. that's just him talking, whether or not you buy something from him, you know, and somebody reviewing a plugin, like it ultimately there's a goal in whether or not someone's going to buy it or use it. I think you kind of just have to see what they've built and their motives. Like you just have to like who they are. Like I feel like you can kind of through the camera see their character and how they operate and the kind of information they're putting out. Like I would trust people more who visibly show humility and curiosity and like a desire to get better and figure it out, as opposed to the ones who are just like, I'm the authority. This is how you do it. I'm the best. Like, you know what I mean?
There's definitely like there's so many moving targets, and there's like, I like to follow the mentality of like, let's figure this out together. Or this thing's cool. Let's learn this together. That's why, I mean, not to get off on my own little tangent, but that's why there's Loser on Recording Studio Loser, because like I'm gonna screw this up every once in a while. Yeah, and that's part of the process. Like,
well, and what I've always found about you and your channel is it's an open journal of discovery and sharing wisdom and your experience. And that's a great place to be, not just I'm just going to put out a bunch of videos and I'm going to be seen and I'm going to be known and I'm going to be the authority.
Be known with a very specific niche of individuals. But the interesting part about that, like the fun part about like this whole thing, the cameras thing, and I don't even know if this makes it in the video or not, but when you talk about like giving away knowledge, even if like some of my early videos are like, well, those are terrible. Well, duh, everybody knows that. But even like that whole process of like give away what I know, like gets me to places like this where you're like, hey, I got some information. You want some information? I'm like, oh yeah, let's learn this thing. Yeah. So it's like, I've gotten to know so many people who are like, hey, I also have a tidbit. Here's a tidbit. Here's a tidbit. Here's a tidbit. Like, and there's a whole community of people who just all this access to information when you just toss it out there to share it. It's really cool.
That's awesome. Because that's what we should be doing. Like the rising tide lifts all ships. But like this is why I love the guy I used to work for. Because arguably, he held the top spot as mixer in CCM for years. Loads of songs, loads of projects, high quality, great customer service. He's renowned. And of course, like as careers evolved, like he's done other stuff. He's slowed down in certain ways. Other guys have come up to do like what he was doing in his space and mix. And they just recently jumped on an Instagram live where it was, you know, three, I don't want to say newer mix guys, but like if he was this generation, like holding down like the top spot, King of the Hill, like you've got a new generation coming up who are doing great mixes. They've got a lot of information too. And they invited him to be a part of this Instagram live. And I was talking with him like the day before. I was like, yeah, man, like going on that Instagram live, like that's awesome. And he was like, yeah, man, I'm so excited to hear like and learn from these guys. They've got a lot of great ideas. And like he's worked on more projects than all of them combined. But like his attitude was like, yeah, man, I'm ready to learn because like they're doing some cool stuff.
Wow.
You know, and it like, of course it flips in my head because like part of the reason I might congratulate him for that is like, yeah, man, you're awesome. You're still relevant. You're great at what you do. I'm giving you a compliment. And he's like, no, I'm excited to be part of the table. Yeah, I'm here to learn. I'm here to be curious. And like, even at the end of that Instagram live, like he said, dude, let's go around the room and say what we love about each other's mixes and like just encourage each other. And like, that's like, man, you talk about building a community and creating. Oh man, I'm getting choked up. But you're like building a community. You're building a community and legacy of like support, encouragement, outstanding excellence in what you do, and like that can be seen. Absolutely, that can be seen instead of cynicism, complaining. Here's what not to do. Like, here's the best and worst plugins because I said so. Like, dude, we don't have to hear a word from Servant. He's just at the top.
He's the best
because he's doing work. Like the dudes I look up to are some of the quietest dudes.
Mm-hmm.
And like I want to learn. I want to soak up every little nugget of theirs.
That's a lot of what I talk about is like people kind of think that you're enemies with everybody, or that like there's competition everywhere. And there's some truth to that. There can be competition, but there's also like healthy competition where like iron sharpens iron. And like I love that with some of my peers. Like, you're getting better, I need to get better. And like, but there's always that good, healthy relationship. And like, if you treat your competition like they're human, you have nothing but like coming back and learning from somebody, because the community is so small.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody is so interconnected that like when stuff hits the fan, like people have bailed me out like more than once in like huge ways. Like they've shown up, and these are my competition. Mm-hmm. And they like help me pay my bills effectively. And then I got to turn around and do the same thing for those individuals. It's like the people who get that have careers that are very long, and the people who push against it they might soar to the top. But
well, again, whether or not this makes the video, this is about to get raw. That like right now I'm reading a book called I Didn't See It Coming, mm-hmm. where it talks about some pitfalls you can look for in your character and personal life that may atrophy and drift over time to where you find yourself in cynicism, fear, insecurity, pride, like a lot of things. So I would highly recommend that book. But then what you're talking about is like the Christian mission worldview of like my identity is in Christ, not in what I do, and protecting my niche and career. But like just recently watching the Olympics, like I loved seeing when two athletes competed against each other, but like one lost, but like, dude, you just did a great job. Like, that's awesome to watch. That encourages people so much more than I just won a gold medal. I'm awesome. You know? Or like, yeah, we both gave it our best and we tried, and like, so glad we're here together. A personal story with that is like, because I was part of the team that was on the hill for a time, like I thought I would graduate into that space with, 4 or 5 other guys, like there were 4 or 5 other guys with the guy I worked for. I'm sure that was growing sin and entitlement in me. Like, oh yeah, this is what my path looks like. And multiple of factors, be it that I stayed connected to his operation pretty long, and that my name was tied to his in a lot of people's minds as assistant or being part of his operation, still helping him with stuff. There were other guys who like swooped in and just crushed it on a spec mix, like gave it their all, and they got busy and they started to launch. And like in my soul, I was like, but I've been paying my dues. Where was my spot? Like, they need to get in line. And like the fear and the arrogance and comparigance. Mm-hmm. That's not mine. That's from the book. But yeah, like the just the poison that is. And if you drink it, you're going to turn cynical. You're going to turn fearful. You're going to burn down your career, whether you know it or not. Like, other people might see it and feel it in you. But then, like, fast forward a year or two, it's like, I know I need to talk with him. The guy that like I felt swooped my place in line the most. I need to talk with him. And it's like you talk and it lowers that feeling. And now it's like we're buds. And we were at an event together a few weeks ago. And like I heard some of his fears and vulnerability. And it's like, man, are you kidding me? Like we get to encourage each other in this moment and forget about the little pockets that we're like striving so hard to protect. There's this greater mission of connecting with each other, encouraging each other that lasts so much longer than whether or not we were king of the hill for a day.
And we're just making music.
Dude, we're just turning knobs and making it sound good.
That's all it is.
Why have a template? Why have any structure? Just turn knobs. Like, watch Sean Everett just whip mics around a drum kit. It doesn't matter.
What do the knobs even do?
Dude.
Nothing.
Some of my
Close your eyes and twist them until it sounds good.
Dude, it's always about the song. Forever, amen. It's the song. It'll survive a bad mix.
Mm-hmm.
AI is going to take all of our jobs.
Eventually. 2 years. Max.
Yeah.
Everything was so hopeful and warm-hearted, and then we got
we'll call it like hopeful nihilism. Like it's a fun ride, but it means nothing, right?
That's just breaking the emotion.
Music is a luxury. Taxes, politics,
and we've completely derailed. Well done. We find ourselves at the end once again together. If you liked that, maybe you'll want to go see Warren mix the whole song in stereo and Atmos. And for that, we got one, just a tasty one right down here for you. Why don't you go ahead and click that. We'll see you later.